Hi everyone, it's Thursday, 13th of February, and we're just going to run through some bidding practices and how we can get some people to buy some property, and that's the key to any auction. We've had some comments over the last 3 to 6 months, I suppose. How do I buy a property? I keep missing out, or we would have bought that at that price. I'll just readjust that. Those sorts of comments are an auctioneer's worst nightmare. To hear somebody would have paid more, and of course they didn't. So why? And the why is very interesting, because having been around it for over 40 years, well, almost 50 years, with the family involvement of the local stockyards and Timor. The reality is the auctioneer wants to sell the property for the highest possible price because the vendor is paying his fee. And some auctioneers are paid a salary or a call fee, and sometimes a commission as well. So there is an incentive for the auctioneer to get the highest possible price. Now, it flies against that to think that an auctioneer would call it in or hammer it down earlier if there was a bid on the floor. So it comes back to a little bit of skill of the bidder. And I'm gonna say something here that it's a general comment, but it's a reality check. And I know it's the same for many of the other auctioneers out there, and some that I've trained with overseas. Hiring a buyer's agent or a bidder's agent very rarely ends up in a sale. Very rarely. They tend to try and control the auctioneer. Now, a strong auctioneer won't let that happen. A strong auctioneer will let the market set the value. So if they try and do little tricky things, the auctioneers, for instance, I've been calling on and off for 40 odd years, so we tend to have seen every trick in the book and some. So they'll try and control the bids or the stated rises, but a strong auctioneer will be in charge of all of that. So them being smart also, the auctioneer's likely, let's say two bidders are at the same level, they'll take the other bidder. You know, it's just, they don't mean to, it's subconscious, but that does happen. You know, they've got a choice. Somebody's been smart to them all the way through the auction, and someone's just been a normal bidder, and they're both stuck at the same price. Well, there you go. So I would say do some of your homework. The other mistake a lot of people make is that you can approach the auctioneer before the auction and ask for some advice. How does he want you to bid? How should you display your number? Is it a paddle? Is it a number? Is it a hand? Some auctioneers will take all, some only a couple. So go and have a word to them. Have a meeting and go and tell them, look, we're coming to this property that you're auctioning, and we would like to buy it, obviously. How should we bid? We've never done it before. We've only bid on a couple of properties. And he's going to give you his time. Every auctioneer I know that's trained under the same systems I'm trained under, they'll give you an hour. And you know what? They'll look for you in the crowd. And they'll look for you a bit. They'll give you a bit of extra time. So that's really going to help you, because every auctioneer is a little bit different. But in saying that, we will all obviously take a registered bidder's bid. So how do I bid? Okay, first of all, let's pretend I've got just a sheet of paper and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's your bidding number. Looking for an opening bidder offer. Do I have 500? I have 500, bid them on 550. Up high, above your head, straight up. Make it clear. Bid. 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 So this sounds silly, but if you're 15 back and you go like this, he might not be able to see you. Or if he's got spotters, the spotter might not be able to see you. Don't be afraid to go up here. That's the first one. Hand signal. Straight up. Palm of the hand. Palm of the hand. Let him take your bid. Then bring it down. But all slowly. Okay? So then he goes, bid him on 550. 550 I have, bid him on 600. So you're at 550. He's bidding on at 600. Bid him on at 600. 600 he has. Bid him on at 650. Palm up again. 650 I have. So you can see it. It's clearer. The rapid callers, you'll notice rapid callers come from stock or fruit and veg, and they're dealing with the same buyers basically that they've had for the last 10 years. And then they know that Jim's going to just give them a flick. They know that George is just thumb up. They know that Sally's just going to play with the collar. That's a bid. So, but they're getting those bidders. They've had them for 10 years. Their bidders don't change. But you are one of. So there could be 300 in the crowd. There's only 10 registered or 20 registered. And the auctioneer's standing there in a sea of people and he's got to pick out where those bidders are. But if you've had a meeting with him and you've gone up and introduced yourself again just before the auction, bang, your bidder won. So where do you start? When do you start? Start early. Have some practice. You know he's going to start below the reserve, generally. So, opening bidder offer. Now, and don't be silly. You know the value of the property. Opening bidder offer, 600. Put your hand up. Yell out 600. 600 I have. Bid them on at 650. 600 I have. Bid them on at 650. 650 I have. Bid them on at 700. 700. So if you are strong, can you see that? And you think of the auctioneer who's standing way up above. He's seen your forceful strong bid. He's now zeroed in on you, and he'll zero in on 2 or 3 of the bidders, but you won't lose the property. So you've met the auctioneer. That's great. He's got as much control over everything as the agent on the day. So there you go. And he's going to give you, okay, that's the way to do it. And well, that's the way to do it. Show him your number. If he's got a scribe, I don't use them, but if he's got a scribe beside him, she'll write down 600 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 650 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. Can you see how it's going? Now those rapid callers again that have their same buys week in, week out, and it's the same at the stockyards. You know, the farmer's buying where the farmer's selling 2 weeks ago. So it's not hard. Not hard when you're using the same ones over and over and over and over again. But when it's new faces, you've got to step up, really. So that's a real indication of how it goes. It's pretty simple. So when you're keeping it simple, got more chance of buying. Remember, your goal is not to be smart to the auctioneer. Your goal is not to be second. Your goal is to be first and own the property. And very rarely in 20 years' time will you ever say that I paid too much. Fair market value is always auction day. So hiring somebody to do it for you, I think, is a big negative, because they tend not to buy. And then they'll justify their fee, which you still have to pay them. They'll justify their fee by not buying the property you want. Go and meet your auctioneer. Spend the time. And he'll even call you an auction. He'll call you a dummy auction in his office or in their auction room. Ask him to. Can you just call it so we can understand your patter? And he'll do that. They're really, really approachable. So go and meet your auctioneer. You can talk about where your price is at, but don't try and beat him down. That's just silly. He's going to take the bids on the day. Bid early. Get some practice. Get 3 or 4 bids in before you're over reserve. If you've got 3 or 4 bids in, you then are a confident bidder. Instead of waiting, playing some silly game, because we're not talking about a $100 push bike. We're talking about the house that you want, that you've spent money looking at contracts, you've had building and pests done, you may have spent $3,000 or $4,000 on it. So let's be honest here, you're not mucking around. You hire somebody else, they have no buy-in, they're getting a fee off you. Maybe if they didn't get any fee unless you bought it, now there's something to think about. So that's the way. Feel free to call me, text me, email me if you've got any questions. You're going into an auction. I can only give you general guidelines, certainly can't represent you, but as I'd say to the auctioneer that you're going to, go and talk to that auctioneer. He'll love to get your phone call. And the agents love hearing that a buyer's called the auctioneer and has had an appointment and talked about how to bid. It's free advice. So go in there, have a chat to the auctioneer, bid strongly, and buy. That's the process. Just buy. Don't be scared. The auctioneers are all accommodating, really nice guys and girls. They'll give you all the time that you want. They'll run a dummy auction for you, so you hear all our different patterns. I'm slow and methodical and clear, whereas some are quick, but you don't know where the bid's at sometimes. So all different styles, but yeah, get out there. Don't be afraid of the system. Be confident if you haven't bid before that you can do it. Be confident that you can talk to the auctioneer. Go and see them a week before the auction and just say, how do you call? How do I bid? I want to bid early. I want to have a couple of bids before we get to the business end of it. And he'll be looking for you, or she'll be looking for you. Feel free to give us a call, 040 297 0217, Brian at brianmcmanusrealestate.com. And good luck, happy bidding and successful bidding to everybody out there.